Hey everybody, thank you so much for checking out this 10,000 Minute Experiment podcast. Super grateful for that, and I hope it's actually helpful for you. So if it is, would you please like this or subscribe to it or even rate it? Unless it's a bad rating, then don't rate. Just kind of subscribe or just dislike? No. Well, if you don't like it, just don't worry about it. And just to give you a quick order of this podcast, just so you know how we're going to start doing these things, is the beginning, it starts off, it's just dumbness. It's just us being totally dumb with our guest, and I like humor, and maybe it's not funny to you, but it's really funny to me, so enjoy it or don't. Or just skip forward a little bit, and we will start the recap of the practice or the experiment for the week, and just see how it went. And then after that, there's some more dumbness. Then we do this 10,000 questions for the guests that we have, and that's always fun and just funny for me. By the way, this week's guest is Jason Ingram. Now, if you've ever sung any song in any kind of church gathering, you have sung 1 or 8,000 of Jason's songs. His thumbprint, his heart is all over the radio and all over the songs that we sing as a church. So I am really excited to have Jason here, and he's also a great friend and an incredible, incredible man. So with the few minutes that we had with Jason, I think you will see why I love him so much. And then the last part is just this pre-conversation for this next week's experiment. It's really just the conversation around the hypothesis of how we think this thing will go. So I hope you enjoy this next 10,000 minute experiment. Hey everybody, this is Tim Timmons, and this is 10,000 Minutes Experiment. Shoot, I almost said experience.
I know.
They're both excellent.
Yeah, they can be both things.
And we have a few great humans in the room. So we've got Moy over here.
Hello.
Again, we've got Chris Cleveland over here.
Hello.
He's on my left, if that makes sense to anybody who's listening. And then we've got a special guest. This is Jason Ingram, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome.
I wore my best black on black for Jason.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah,
It's the wardrobe.
it is the wardrobe.
It's fun.
It is. My kids have never seen their dad in anything other than black.
Oh my gosh.
One
A
day.
hat in black.
Shoes and hats sometimes can change, but I tried a white T-shirt on once about 5 years ago, and everyone was belly laughing.
That's not a good thing.
I
What
know.
about like bathing suits? Are bathing suits black too?
No, I do. Bathing suits do get.
They've seen some birthday suits.
They've seen some colors. No.
Yeah. Did this get awkward? Okay. That is a question. Because, gosh, I guess they've seen their dad. And some people are like, man, I remember seeing that and it scarred me. So I know I've scarred my kids with the whole birthday suit thing. Do you want to go into that at all? 'Cause that's kind of what we want to talk about today.
I don't think you've got some boys. I've just got 2 daughters.
Right.
I've tried to kind of steer clear of the birthday suit.
That's so good. Yeah, my poor daughters. Yeah. So, anyways, that's what we're going to talk about, just trauma today.
Perfect.
Chris, how free are you?
What?
How free are you?
Oh, fairly free. Yeah. Great.
Oh, God. It turns.
It can turn. I can't even
There was a
respond.
day. There was a day when it turned for my daughter.
Yeah, I feel like our kids are 8, 6, and 4. And so it's gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, like we would shower.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can judge me at whatever you want. It's like if you're taking a shower, you get a child with you most of the time in our house because
Yeah,
it's
it's a
the
party.
quickest and easiest way to bathe.
Yep.
So, but there's like a day recently where I was like, I think we've hit the moment. Like 6 years old is probably my checkout time.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I said that 18 years old is kind of the checkout time. So it's going great in my house.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Probably a few off.
J/K, everybody. Anywho.
What was the question?
Oh, yeah. This
Sweet.
is 10,000 Minutes
Oh, that's edited
Experiment.
That's right.
And experience. Okay, so we're going to go through what we practiced this past week. And we brought Jason on because we're kind of doing this off of the song that we wrote together. Mm-hmm. It's called No Other Gods. If you haven't heard it, please go listen, check it out. That's not the point here. But why we wrote that song, and I remember coming into your studio and something had just hit me. I'd just spoken on this idea of worship, that it's worship, the best way to see worship is what I give my attention to. Like that is almost a definition for worship. It just hit me. That is so profound. And then I worship all these other gods all the time. And God's saying, don't worship these other gods because they simply don't work, Tim. Not because I just want you to be like this uber cool religious guy, but man, they just don't work. And so I remember coming in with that idea, and then we just started riffing on that and wrote this prayer that we just listened to And everybody was crying in this room.
Still processing.
Yeah. So still processing a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Moved.
Good. So that's the recap. So the practice this past week, or the experiment, if you will, was to breathe in, Jesus, breathe out, you have my attention. So we practiced that. Most of us practiced that. Jason, I just told him about it. So poor guy's like, what are we doing today?
I had it for a day, and I did.
Yeah.
I did this last.
Well, you can use it for a
24
day.
hours.
It's going to be powerful. Okay, so let's jump into it. So how'd it go? Anybody have any thoughts on what you saw, what you learned, what happened?
Moy, go for it.
Dang, me?
Yeah,
Ladies first.
Ladies first,
I
totally.
appreciate that. Table of gentlemen.
Yeah. Like, did it work, and why did it work, and how did it work?
I think it gave me a lot of awareness of where my attention goes to, and I think a lot of it is towards myself. I think that was a hard thing to accept this week, because when you're breathing in Jesus, breathing out, you have my attention, you're pausing for the moment.
Yeah.
And I realized I don't pause throughout my day. Like, I just go on to the next thing, and I carry whatever I was thinking about myself before my last job to the next job. And it was really hard for me to accept that even though I'm pausing to give Jesus my attention, like his attention is always on me. So it was a very humbling week, to say the least, of just taking moments to acknowledge who I am through his eyes instead of who I'm trying to be every day.
Good.
With like where my attention's at, which is, how productive I was that day, or how social I was, or how kind I was.
How did that change the way that you saw those things?
I think the idea of self-sufficiency, like I never thought that would be a God that I would follow for myself. But I think the idea of like I could be complete by myself, I think was undone this week, where I'm like, I always come up short if I really am always paying attention to myself. So I think it just changed the way I see how God's always completing me in everything I do throughout the day.
Love that. I got a pretty amazing text this week from Chris. That had some strong words in it.
It did have some strong words.
Yeah.
I was coming back from the studio, like East Nashville, going down to Franklin. And the beautiful thing is the world is opening up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like there's finally traffic again.
Yeah.
And like I've been driving
You're
for
celebrating
a
that?
year. Takes me 29 minutes door to door.
Yeah.
It's taken like 45, 50 now. So people are getting back out. That's something to celebrate. But I'm trying to get on like whatever the loop thing is. I can't remember what highway it is. I still don't know the names yet.
Yeah.
And this car just parks.
Yeah.
I mean, right in front of me.
Yeah.
Trying to get on the highway. And so, of course, I like put the pedal to the floor, ripping around this guy, calling him some real choice words out loud. Just my vibe.
Yeah.
And then mid-sentence, I just get like Tim's face in my head saying, breathe in Jesus, you have my attention. And I started cracking up laughing. Just like laughing out loud in my car. And I was like, you're so stupid, in this moment.
Me? That I'm so stupid?
Yeah, I was mainly that.
Get out of my
Love
head.
it.
Yeah, but it was
Transparency.
like just in that moment thinking, oh gosh, how silly. And like being aware of this and how cliche I am at the same time. But I just had to text him immediately. I was like, I can't even cuss at people on the highway anymore.
Well, you totally can. I mean, it's just a matter of doing it with Jesus.
Yeah, I guess.
Instead of...
If he's riding shotgun, sit in the passenger seat, maybe we go together. So yeah, I felt kind of stupid. But really for me, this was an interesting week. Kind of like you, I think it just gave me some perspective of where I'm spending my time. I kind of mentioned in the other thing, it's like a moment of shame every Sunday when my phone gives me my download of the week and my average hours on there. And I try to think, wow, I had GPS on for 45 minutes today. So, trying to give myself some excuse. So one thing I did was when I get home, I just like put my phone on the charger on the desk. And then I'm a serial like book buyer. Like if somebody's like, I heard about this or I read this book, it was awesome, I will buy that book right then.
Yeah.
I will never read it, but I will buy it. So I had gotten a book in and I read it in like 2 days. So all the time that I was spending on my phone or doing something else, I kind of redirected that. It was weird how much better it made me feel and more kind of connected in a way to what was going on and present. And then for me too, I think what it allowed me to do a little bit this week in those moments, putting my kids to bed or like these really insignificant daily things, be like, oh gosh, this is like heaven and Jesus is with us in this. This is the point of all of it.
Yeah.
And so there were some really just neat moments. All that does is like help you be aware of them.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm just cruising.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on
So
autopilot so much that I'm missing a lot of things because my head is just somewhere else.
How does that correlate with Jesus having your attention? So
I don't know.
No, I love it. I think it completely does. I would probably normally think that just means I need to be praying and just focusing on Jesus.
Uh-huh.
But Jesus, you have my attention, it sounds like actually has a bigger implication in your life than just focusing on Jesus. It's like just being aware of what I have, what he's given me.
Yeah, because what is Jesus like at some point? I feel like, don't hate me for this, but it's like I can think about Jesus and what he did for about 15 seconds and I've got the gist.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? So what did that afford me? You know, and what does that mean today in my life and how I live my life? So when I think about like all of that and salvation and heaven and hell and all of these things and even the words that Jesus spoke, it's like he was talking a lot about making the most out of your life and treating the people around you with love and, you know, loving your neighbor as yourself, like all of these things. So many of his messages were about right now, wake up, you know. And so I think it's a little bit more of taking the mind of Christ as opposed to just thinking about how cool he was.
Yeah.
It's like, what would you be paying attention to if you were here with me?
Yeah.
Rather than me just thinking about Jesus all day. If that makes any sense.
Totally. Did anybody feel like you did this for Jesus instead of with him?
I think to me that's the with thing is sort of the invitation in it all. So you sent me the exercise yesterday, and I'm like, what does attention mean? So I just sort of like Googled a little bit, and I've read this quote that says, whatever has your attention has you. And I was like, oh man, that's like really powerful. And then piggybacking on what Chris was saying. So then I went on this monkey trail of like, what are all the things that have our attention right now? And social media is a big one. And the average person will spend, when you add up the amount of time in a week that you spend on social media, you'll lose it's over 5 years of your life.
Oh my gosh.
That you invest in this very silly sort of like thing that accomplishes nothing. And so I think the exercise of saying, whatever has my attention will have me. It kind of owns you, you know? So to be a servant of Christ is to be mindful of the things that we're giving our attention to and then ask, is this owning me?
Yeah.
And if it is, then we need to put it in check and say, Jesus, I want you to own me. I want you to own this time. I want to submit to what you have for me in this. And I think the invitation is with, so for the day I had it, I tried Jesus and say, you have my attention. So if I had a co-write yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's like, Jesus, help me to see the moments in these next few hours that I can love well, or I can represent you well, or just simply find the satisfaction of realizing the creative process, the joy of it, like is like sit in the moment and go like, wow, that's a presence of Jesus in my life.
How is that? How would yesterday have been different from the day before?
Just intentionality.
Yeah.
That's what I love about you giving exercises, because I love this as sort of an exercise quote, but nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just sort of let life happen and us just sort of be like on the slide.
Yeah.
But in order to follow Jesus and to do life with him, things have to change. And there's a constant sort of taking up the cross, which is sort of sounds grand, but I think just really that's just sort of always looking for those spaces in your life where there's something that has your attention that is a distraction. You talk about worship. I've always loved, I heard the pastor say one time that whatever has your awe will have your worship. And a lot of things will have our awe. Like fear is a synonym for awe. So like things that you're afraid of, you stand in awe of them. And those things will have your worship. And so just a constant recentering, just the discipline of looking at my day and going, what are the things that have my attention? And practicing the presence of Jesus, a way to just invite him into every moment, you know?
Okay, so I just want us to pull back for 1 second, even just to take in some of the genius that Jason just threw down. And sometimes we get so fast at moving through it and listening to it that we forget to actually put it into practice, into our own story. Jason said a few things. He said, nothing changes if nothing changes. Think about that in your own life. Sometimes calamity and these things that come in our lives are actually gifts because they begin the change process. And sometimes it's actually up to us to say, you know what, I'm going to actually change this rhythm of my life and put this new rhythm into my life. That's part of the point of 10,000 Minutes, is actually changing the rhythms every week so that we can actually be more aware of Jesus and give more of our attention to Jesus. The other thing he said was, whatever has your awe has your worship. So the word awe meaning fear and trembling, whether that's fear as in worry or whether that's fear as in reverence, whatever has your awe has your worship. That's profound if you think about it. And then on the other side of that, whatever has your worship or whatever has your attention has you. I don't know, just take a second about that. Whatever has your attention has you. Is that true in your life? How have you seen that? What has your attention in this season? Yeah, I think these practices are so helpful for me personally, just because it takes me out of my normal mode. Like it disrupts, there's no change without some kind of disruption. That's whether me getting cancer, that changed me. That is a disruption. You getting cut off the other day, or me getting cut off this week, that is a disruption that I can disrupt my normal thing of being angry about that with a practice, with a centering on Jesus. That's what's been so helpful. So even for me this week, I think my main ones that hit me, and I love just being aware of Jesus this week. I think I just forget. I do this. This is what I do. I want to follow Jesus like we all do, but I just keep forgetting. And so this week was so helpful just to put this into practice. Jesus, I'm just aware of you today. And I think with my kids, I had some legit hard conversations with my kids this week. Just some awesome moments and some bad dad moments, I think there is so much more to be revealed in me as I was parenting and trying to parent, that I was like, okay, Jesus, you have my attention in the middle of this when I'm pissed off at my kids right now. They're being so stupid. And yet, what is this in me? What's it revealing in my heart that you might want to look into and help heal some of these areas? So that was really helpful for me this week. Paul and Barnabas, when they're in Lystra in Acts 14, they say, we're bringing you the good news of the kingdom of God, because the kingdom's available. That's the gospel. That's the good news. Telling you to turn from these worthless things to the living God. And I just kept thinking about the worthless things that I put so much of my attention to. So for me, I know land in my area. Like I know all the land that's for sale because I just have this dream.
We talked about this.
Yeah, we have. Gosh, I end up looking at how much time I put into
cruising Zillow.
Yeah, I'm hanging out, me and Zillow. And it's great. I mean, what a great, fun thing to do at times, just not all the time. Do you guys have any dumb things or big things that you would almost deem as worthless things?
I have so many of those. Like so many. That's why I'm embarrassed about my phone count at the end of it.
Everybody listening will have just
I do
as many.
land, I do houses, like I'm obsessed with them. The first thing I do is get on Zillow. I do this when I go to people's houses too. I'm like, how much money did you spend on your house? Yeah. And it's like almost an addiction. I just have to know. But yeah, I go to these towns, and in my mind, I'm like, if I ever do something illegal, I can disappear in Galva, Illinois.
That's what you said.
You know what I mean? Like $76,000 will buy you like a 4,000 square foot house, built in 1920. It's beautiful. Be like $5 million in downtown Franklin, Galva, Illinois. I guess I can't go there, but I have like 70 more of those places. I have too many of those things to count. I waste my life on insignificant crap most of the time.
Moy, what do you got?
Worthless?
I mean, these might be fine things. It's just
Yeah.
instead of being aware of Jesus.
Gosh, I wish I had something silly, but I really am like so aware of my perfectionism.
Yeah.
I think I'm just like, man, I know we're all caught in that trap.
Yeah.
But I realized a lot that I spend a lot of time perfecting everything. So throughout my day, I'm always cleaning and I'm always reorganizing and I'm always remaking and rewriting a list and rewriting my dreams and rewriting my work day. And it's like
Yeah.
the need to constantly be like finally locked in and ready to go is something I just am like, man, I spent so much time prepping for perfectionism.
Yeah.
Does it
When I
ever
do
end?
No, it's like, I mean, I think this week was disrupted for sure. And I got to enjoy the things, I get to do this week, but it's like crunching numbers. Like I'm an accountant for my life. Like,
If you have something that is a win, do you celebrate it? Or is it
great
just
question.
on to the next thing?
I move on to the next thing. I think it's expected for me. I'm like, okay, that was supposed to be done,
Yeah.
but that took 2 hours.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just interesting to know, like I measure my time a lot. And so I think I came in thinking, this is going to be kind of easy because I already know where my attention goes. But then I didn't realize the motive, like the attention of my motive was to just like have the perfect day every day. So I don't have to yield my attention.
good.
So yeah.
3 kids never let you have the perfect day. I wanted to get up and take a shower this morning.
Yeah.
and-
You look terrible.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Just didn't happen. You don't do anything the same once they start running in and being crazy.
So that's the main point of this. You guys do not have children.
Wish I could have one.
Well, you guys, thank you for jumping into this. And if you are hearing this for the first time, please jump into that experience. Gosh, I keep saying experience. Into that experiment with us. And Jason, now you get to do it for another week, because you only had one day.
You're right.
Breathing in Jesus, breathing out, you have my attention. So we're going to move on to a quick little speed round for you.
Oh. You didn't tell me that was coming.
Yeah, we got
Shoot.
we got.
That's called being juked. Right
Totally.
there.
Okay, this is speed round. Speed round.
No.
We got 4 minutes.
He didn't tell me this was
It's
happening.
gonna be great.
Okay, Jason,
Yeah.
and everybody else, please mock. Go right in and mock. So we've got a few speed round questions, and this is what we like to call fun. Okay, so if you could have an unlimited storage of one thing, what would it be?
Black t-shirts.
Gosh, that's.
I thought he was going to say hit songs, but he already has that.
I thought you said hit socks. Okay. What's the first word that comes to your mind? Now, go.
Shoot is the word that came to my mind, and I didn't want to say it.
So good.
That's really strong. That was so clean too. Well, you're a holy man. Unless you filtered. Okay, when I dance, I look like that's you saying it,
Oh.
not me.
Oh man.
When you dance, you
don't.
look like-
I don't dance.
Exactly. So what would you look like?
A fool.
I love that. We'll just keep that.
I don't.
Just no other description.
Yeah, I know.
Just as that.
I do dance sometimes. I don't know, but it's not.
What would
pretty.
Coley say? Does she enjoy the Jason dance?
Yeah, I think everyone enjoys it.
Yeah.
But it's not. But it's at my expense.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. Okay, back to the birthday suit. Would you ever? No, just kidding. Okay. All right. What annoys you? White shirts.
People's opinions.
Gosh, I want to dive so deep into that.
Let's dive deep.
Okay, what are you afraid of?
Heights.
Heights.
And I climbed
That's right.
Mount Rainier a year and a half ago just
Wow.
to try to deal with
How'd that work?
It was terrible, but
Yeah.
it was a real exercise and kind of like pushing past things that you're afraid of.
Can you tell us a joke? Do you have a joke?
No, I don't. I don't have a joke.
I don't know
I
any
don't.
jokes.
Okay, good.
You're doing great. It's some people just have
Yeah,
jokes in
yeah.
their back pocket.
I don't.
What's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning?
I make coffee for my wife and I.
So giving.
So giving.
It's like a love language in our house.
It
I
is.
don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
But if I really want my wife to love me that day,
Yeah.
I'll make her coffee.
Yeah, she it's every 7 days a week for years.
Gosh.
It's kind of expected, but it's something I go make it. I drink a glass of water, and then it brews, and then I get us a cup of coffee each, and then chat for 20 minutes and get going.
That's a way to make out. That's perfect. Love it. What will you never do? Don't say this podcast again.
Gosh. Yeah. Respond to Tim Timmons' text. What will I never do?
What will you never do?
I will never skydive.
Gosh. As far as you know. What if that's
Bungee
the next...
jump. No, that's it. I'd rather skydive than bungee jump. I will never bungee jump.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's no...
I can't.
I'm with you, man. There's some things you just like,
Yeah.
Risk
I don't
reward.
know. Who set this up? I like.
Right,
I want a
totally.
full background check. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I had a dream 2 nights ago that I bungee jumped. I haven't had that in a long time.
I could. That dream.
I don't think I peed my bed. I don't think I did. Maybe a little bit of dribble, but not. It's scary.
Yeah. Yeah, not gonna happen.
I feel you. I would get scared like in high rises, like by the windows.
yeah.
I would like have to get on the floor.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah,
But
same.
then I'd like want to feel
Prostate?
a little bit. Yeah. I want to feel the tingle just a little, so I'd like on the floor just peek over. It's weird.
We had a
Like
little dumb bit
microdosing.
last week that he paused before he said prostrate on the ground, and I knew exactly why he paused because I was thinking, oh, gosh, every time I say it, I'm scared I'm going to say
We did. And
prostate
we,
or
and
prostrate.
we took it way too long.
Yeah, and we're going to keep
It
going
was like
every
11
week.
minutes of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last question, what's your most recent moral failure?
Goodness gracious.
Just kidding.
Man.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Jason, thanks for being on with us.
I was gonna answer too.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
thanks
good.
for having me. This is really fun.
Good.
Love it.
Good. Okay, so that concludes the first section of this podcast where we talked about how the experiment actually went. And now we're going to jump into what this next week's experiment is and what it would look like for us to actually put this next experiment into practice. And by the way, if you guys want to get free text messages during the week to encourage you with this practice, text 10K, 10K to the number 55678. So put in 10K in the subject and then text to the number 55678 and I'll send you a few encouraging texts. And if you want to jump past the banter, which we do, which I actually think is very funny, just jump ahead a few minutes.
Jason Ingram, what's your most recent moral failure?
It's just one of my favorite questions ever.
That's really
He
good.
thought about it.
Yeah. I used to do that question. I used to work with students, and so I'd have a group of students, and like little Johnny would walk in late and go, "Hey man, so we're just finishing up with our most recent moral failures. Why don't you just jump on in?" I was like,
Scary.
well, last night. I'm like, no. So it just, I'm sure I'll ask that question 800 times on this podcast because it's just so good and disarming and terrible.
It is. It's all those things. I love it.
But gosh, I was going to say, when you dance, what do you look like? But you're a dancer.
No,
Yeah, I can see you being a dancer.
I'm not.
Do you dance in your concerts?
Never. I mean, maybe if you like feel a beat, but you
Yeah,
can
show
tell
us,
by
show
me
us.
just doing that I can't dance.
But are you like the wedding man though? Like, are you a dancer at the wedding?
It gets out of control. It depends the scenario and what else is involved.
Yes, understood.
But then I can vividly remember this event that we did, and it was like free wine. It was an auction. I was playing the music, and the way they did it, like everybody had wine glasses, whatever, but you didn't know how much you had consumed because the waiters would be right behind you every drink.
Gosh, yep.
Right.
Danger.
I wound up on top of the table and bought this vacation to like the Bahamas or somewhere that I never used. I essentially took I gave them back all the money that they had given me to come play. And one of my friends sent me the video of it the other day.
Oh my gosh.
Like a handful of years ago.
That's
it made
not
me laugh.
fair.
It made me laugh so hard. It was so funny. So that's the type of thing. I get loud and weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, not like a great person. Not somebody I'd want to hang out with.
It's true. Totally true. You're a dancer, Moy.
I'm a dancer.
Oh,
You're
man.
taking dance classes right now.
I don't take dance classes.
Didn't you just say you did like
I like to dance every day.
That's
Okay.
But that's
right.
like free flow, blinds are down, no one look at me dancing. But like in my teens, I loved hip hop, and so I did a
Wow.
lot of that. But I didn't like professionally dance.
I know, but you dance every day. Like, is that your workout?
It's one of them, yes,
Gosh.
You like work up a sweat?
yes.
Or is it like the
That's why
Ellen
the
dance?
blinds are down because I was like, we're about to go hard at T-Pain, like blinds down.
That's amazing.
But it's fun. I'll do like 45 minutes of that.
Kate, does your roommate ever walk in on you?
Yes, many times. So the new
Do
thing
you
is,
feel awkward about that, or is
well,
that because
we fixed it because we both have Apple Watches. So she'll walkie me like, "Hey, I'm like 5 minutes away." I'm like, "Praise, okay, acts
Yeah.
of service, thank
Yes.
you."
yeah, usually that's
Yeah.
to like make sure you're not doing something weird. Your case is like,
Well,
so
doing
I'm
something
not
weird.
dancing. Yeah,
I mean, I'm going pretty hard,
It's like-
guys. I don't know about you, but
yeah.
it's like,
it's like a put your pants on text, but this is like stop dancing. You know,
yeah. So it's a rule. So she knows she has to let me know when she's on her way home because
Oh my
I could be
God.
dancing
Amazing.
at any moment.
gosh, that's an awkward, great.
I love
moment
that.
right there.
I know. Wait, are you a dancer, Tim?
I
see you shimmy.
well, I don't want to brag. I think I can dance, but I don't dance. Maybe there's something deeper here that we need to talk about. But I think it's when people are really when they dance, they're serious. Like it's the biting of the lip.
Yeah,
And it's like there's somehow it's like I'm this is cool. What I'm doing right here is cool.
Yeah.
And I just
flex.
have a hard time being that
you
serious.
can't take it that seriously.
Yeah, and so if I
feel like
do
dancing is a frame of mind.
gosh,
You know,
print that. Put
Come
that on a
on.
t-shirt.
May
That's
as
our
well.
merch.
Yeah, there you go.
Gosh.
Dancing is a
1,000
Dancing.
minutes, breathe in.
Let's go.
Dancing
Yeah.
is a piece of mind. No, what'd you say?
Frame of mind.
That's what I said.
Frame of mind.
You obviously didn't hear me.
Like a plate of pizza? Pizza
It's a
mind?
silent P. It's a silent
Dancing
P.
is a plate of pizza.
Sure.
mean-
We can get there. It's like, what are they euphemisms or like sayings? I always get them wrong. I'll be close enough that people are like,
Yes.
okay, they
Let it
just
slide.
they move on with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it happens daily.
Yeah.
Like, and I will say, or I'll say like an actor's name, but it'll be like so close, but it's the wrong person, but everybody knows. It's like it's a running like inside thing between my wife and I because it's every day I say something wrong.
Yes.
So dancing is a plate of pizza.
It hurts so I'm going to get real right now. As a plate of pizza. Gosh, it's strong. My wife has corrected me for years on those because she's awesome. She has them all down like a plate of pizza. You know what I mean? She's got them down.
yeah.
Is that
Locked
right? Is
and
that a
loaded.
good
Every slice.
onomatopoeia? But she has always corrected me, and I'm always like, that's fine. It's fine.
You knew what I meant.
Yeah, I had it. I think I'm right, actually. Yeah. Six in the hand is better than four in the bush. That's what I always say. That's what Jesus said in Acts 3, right?
It's divisible by 2.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You
Just
can get down
Carry over the one. And yes.
Okay.
technically the same.
Okay, so welcome back, Moy.
Hello.
Welcome back, Christopher.
What's up?
What is up with you guys?
I was gonna try to mimic the same thing, and then it lost steam like
Hey,
mid-breath.
what is up with you guys? Sorry, that was real loud. Okay, so we are going into the pre-experiment for this next week. So this is going to be what we're going to be talking about next week.
Great.
With a guest, Patrick Mabry, who is a good buddy, and he is
Great
very
accent.
fun. Different Mabry. It's
Oh, it's a
Mayberry.
different one.
Yeah. Patrick's. He might do an accent.
I'm gonna ask him just since I threw it out there already.
Yeah.
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 Just to save like my personal embarrassment.
That could be a hot seat question.
What's your favorite accent to
Yeah.
do?
Chris assumed you had an accent. Could you just do one to appease him, please? Thanks.
Yeah, when he comes in, I'll have him just have an Australian accent or something.
Yes, can be great.
Hey, mate.
Yeah.
Hey, matey.
I try like really badly. I have a friend who's Australian, and we talked on my birthday this week. It was awesome, but I can't not like talk in an accent when I'm talking to him. And
Yeah.
we're close enough friends that he's not offended.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do that to just anybody. Although it has slipped out like a greeter at Walmart or something, and I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? This is so bad. Anyways.
Well, I tried to do it on a walk yesterday. I was trying to be some, I don't even forget who it even was. Gosh, I was trying to do some accent, and I realized midway, because I'm terrible at accents.
Same.
And Sweet Chris was he just went along with it.
I probably didn't notice one.
So just pretend.
Also,
it's not there.
like,
Are you tired? Are you winded, Tim?
it could have been the hills. Like my accents are so bad that they get offensive, and that's the problem. It's like I catch myself. I'm like, I think I've offended a whole.
Because
Like,
are you trying to cuss in that?
no, I just think like people think I'm doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm like intentionally degrading their culture or something. And really, I'm trying real hard, but I should just not at all.
Yeah, you're going to get cancel cultured for sure.
I think so.
Oof.
Gosh, which is going to be a series that we're going to be doing pretty soon,
Ooh.
actually.
Yeah.
That'll be
it's
interesting.
Juicy.
Yeah, is that in a few weeks? I don't know.
Yeah, several weeks.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's going to be great.
Can't wait.
So we'll talk about your accent then.
Perfect.
Okay, so
Can't
we're going
wait
to
to
move
cancel.
into this pre-experiment. So what does worry, criticism, fear, shame feel like physically? If you think about the moment that you worry or that you are in anxiety or shame or fear, what does it physically feel like? Gosh, I was going to say stress, but stress isn't a feeling word. When I'm worrying, I am so uptight. I become so uptight and anal toward everybody around me. Gosh, that is not a good feeling. I'm so tight. I actually found this year, I don't know how, maybe because I was stressed so much, but that I hold all of my stress in my gut.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm always tight. You'd think I'd have really strong abs, but I don't. But that's where I hold all of my tension and my stress is in my gut. So I just feel tight. What about you guys?
Ooh, mine's like the back of my neck, the left side of the back of my neck. And
very
I'll grind
specific.
my teeth too. I can tell if like my sleep just goes out the window.
Do you grind your teeth during the day?
No,
Okay.
but it's during the night. I'll wake up just like ready to
Yeah.
catch these hands, you know?
Yeah.
Like, let's fight. Like, I'm irritated.
Oh,
It's a
man.
new day.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I know I'm worried. Oh, but yeah, I always know. I'm like, ooh, I should be checking in on that because my neck is so tight.
Yeah.
Mine is all in my head. I feel like
What part of your head?
I can the top general area.
Where the head's
So
at, I guess.
So
The
stupid.
head's at.
I know. I can go from like, and maybe this is the musician artist
Yeah.
thing in me. I can go from everything is great to immediately the world is falling apart in seconds. I mean, really, to having this beautiful outlook to, oh my God, life is ending. And then that spirals into a lot of craziness.
What are the things that, and this is for all of us, that invite us to worry?
The unknown or expectation that may not be met.
From you or toward somebody else or toward yourself?
Maybe both.
Okay.
My biggest one is probably that I've had to fight a lot is like providing, especially as like somebody who doesn't have a steady paycheck from anything but what I have to do.
Right.
So there's a lot in that can like affect me because at the end game, it's I don't make any money and provide for my family.
Right.
And because I don't have shows and I don't have a song on the radio.
Yeah.
That's where I wind up.
Right.
And we move back into my parents' house.
Yeah.
With my kids and my wife.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's the worst case scenario in my head.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And everybody, I ask this question of myself, and I want everybody to ask the question of me as well. I ask you this question often as we're walking. But what does that reveal that you actually believe to be true about God? Not in your theology, if you're writing out, this is what God is,
Yeah.
but like how your life is actually showing what you actually believe.
Yep.
What's that reveal?
Yeah, it just means that he's not going to take care of me. Which has been, when you can break it down into those simple things, it's so hard to like cut through the weeds and
Yeah.
know that, you
Yep.
know. And so that's been one of the biggest things that I've had to work through and then see, like actually step out in faith and see like, oh, no, like, wow, you've actually provided for me, like
Yeah.
through all this time.
Yeah. When do you find yourself worrying?
I think provision as well, because I'm single. Like I mean, I have my parents. I love my parents. They live far away, so
Yeah.
it feels like everything lands on me.
Right.
I have a brother who passed away, so I have like expectations of like being the best only kid left kind of deal.
wow.
So like I have to provide, and not just like the minimum. I have to provide the best, and when I don't have those things, I'm just like, I'm always alone. I always have to figure this out alone, and I have this and this. So that's when my worry comes out, when things aren't stable and I don't have enough and more than enough, just in case. Like that scarcity mindset just lingers. So I could be totally fine. I could be financially fine. I could be great in relationships. But if I don't feel like I have a backup of something, I start to worry. You know, like, what do I do to just have plan C and plan D and
You
plan
keep moving
E ready?
the end zone further back.
Yeah. And this idea that like God doesn't have plan D and E and F for me, and the fact that he should, because plan A isn't enough right now.
Right. By the way, I just gave him a fist pump because he used an onomatopoeia really well. He talked about the end zone, pushing it back, and I was like, dude.
I had to think about it like mid. Because I almost
Like
said like
midfield.
the end game.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
there was a thought process.
No, we could be the same human, which is so good. So when I nail one of those, just
Perfect.
So that
I'll clap.
Well,
just stand
yeah.
ovation.
Well put, sir. Well done putting the pickle in the jar,
You
son.
did it. Yes.
I just made that euphemism.
I
up.
got it though.
Yeah,
I was in
the
it.
onomatopoeia. Okay, so the other side of this is, what does it feel like to pick up praise? So in my weeks, I'm quick to pick up worry. So for me, I was just thinking about my kids. When they're being lame to each other, I literally go straight to worry. I pick up worry thinking, okay, they're going to be jerks for the rest of their lives. Like if he just hit him, I like go down this whole train to the end of it thinking, oh my gosh, he's not going to have any friends because he's such a jack, you know?
Yeah.
And I go all the way down the line with my worry. And so I literally all day long am finding myself picking up worry. And the idea of these practices is we get good at what we practice.
Yep.
We will say that an awful lot. I will say that because it's just always coming through in my life where I get good at what I practice and I'm quick to pick up worry instead of picking up praise. This makes me think of the 2 Chronicles story where Jehoshaphat, which is the best name. I mean, I should have
Solid
named
rapper
Chrysler
name.
is not like a rapper.
Yeah,
Gosh.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Jehoshaphat.
mixtapes on mixtapes. Like,
actually, it does have a PH. Jehoshaphat. I mean, that's
Started
so
the
strong.
whole thing.
Yeah.
wow.
T-shirts. When he was leading and he had a good moment of being king and they were going into battle with, I mean, they had all these armies were around them, surrounding them. And, you know, if you've been around, you know the story that God invites them to go out, actually the singers and the choir basically, to go out ahead of the whole army, the Israel army, and just start singing, God, you are good. Your love endures forever. You are good. Your love endures forever. That's what they led with.
Yeah.
You know, in the story, all the other armies start fighting each other and, you know, Israel wins. And it made me think of what I lead with and what I'm picking up. Am I picking up weapons that I know how to use, which would be fear and worry? Because those have gotten me to where I am, and we can just say thank you, fear and worry, for getting me so far.
Yeah.
But I don't need you anymore. Like, you're not actually helpful for me anymore. Because I turn into a total jerk in my worry.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's beautiful. And again, no shame attached to that. But what would it be like for us to this week, instead of picking up all these things, anger, fear, worry, condemning somebody, judgment, what if I picked up praise? And so what would that look like in your next week? With your family or your kids or work? Praising God all day is affirming his goodness, his power, and his nearness in the midst of our chaos and in the mundane. What would that look like?
I mean, I think about what praise is doing is acknowledging how God is and how he's enough. And then the worry and the fear is like assuming what's coming. And so I would think that it would pull me into the present and how enough is already present.
So good.
Right.
And like God is already here. And I think the reason they're out there singing is because they're acknowledging what's already true. Like God is already our victory and with us and our defender. And so whatever result comes from it, that doesn't change who he is. And I think worry is like, if I get that thing to change, everything will be restored.
Yeah.
So I would assume my day would be pulling me to like the moment and the minute instead of like the weeks after and the months after. It's like, okay, how do I organize this so I can be present? It's more of like everything's chaos. And in this moment, this very moment, I have enough to be here, to make it today, you know? That's what it makes me think of.
Chris, what would that look like in your life if you put that as your practice, as an experiment? What could that look like this week?
I love how you just described that. I was listening to somebody talk the other day, and I feel like this was who's the guy who wrote like the Screw Tape Letters and all that?
C.S.
I know
Lewis.
I'm supposed to be a better Christian.
No,
than
you're doing
this.
great. You're doing so great.
You're
I
failing.
think it was one of his quotes. So let's throw this out there, make me feel better.
When in doubt, use the C.S. Lewis quote.
But it talked about like heaven was when like eternity meets now.
Yes.
And so I think there's something about being so secure that you're actually able to experience heaven in these moments that are right now because we're not worried about all of those things that you said. And then I thought, like, what is it like if then we bring that to the people around us? So I'm thinking about my family and my kids and my wife and like leading with praise for them rather than being the voice. I feel like with 3 little kids in our house, I told my wife this the other day, I was like, God, all I'm saying is no. All I'm saying is don't do that. Stop that. Quit. Go to your room. Like it's, and even if you're in a good mood, if you say that so much, you're like just tired. This morning, it's like by the time 8 o'clock hit, I'm like, how many times have we told the kids like to, quit doing whatever, or the dogs are being crazy? It's like, can you flip that in some way and like find the positive reinforcement in there that changes the whole mood of your house?
Yeah.
And I'm very like surface level right now, just thinking through like what that could look like.
No, that's really powerful. I mean, even I love that. I haven't thought about that. Where when I praise somebody else, which means I'm affirming somebody else for something, I always think of that as just me and God. But it's kind of like what you said earlier. It's actually even bigger because when I praise my kid, in a sense, I'm actually praising the imago Dei of my kid. I'm the God image of my kid, that my kid has the image of God in them. And so when I get to praise God, I'm actually then praising my kid, which is praising God too.
And then what is that kid learning?
Yeah.
He's learning to like be that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rather than if I'm telling my kid that he's doing something wrong all day long, he's going to internalize that in some way and feel like that image of God, like he's not going to connect to that as well.
Yeah.
If I'm made in the image of God, but I'm doing the wrong thing all day, like what does that say? And how does that add up? So I'm interested to dive deeper into that and just see what happens.
Well, you got a week.
I got a week.
You got a week.
See how well we do.
You better nail this.
Better nail this.
Do you have any other thoughts, Moy?
Yeah, I'm just curious to see what the exchange looks like because it's, we don't have an infinite backpack per se spiritually. Like there has to be an exchange, right, of the worry. And I don't know if I'll be excited to exchange it or it's like I'm so comfortable in it, maybe not.
Yeah.
Like that's just part of my identity. So, I mean, I'm just curious to see what happens when I take those moments to fully pick up something different than I'm used to.
So that's why it's called an experiment. And isn't something that we already have figured out. And I love that we're going to do this week and see what we can learn. And if nothing else, on the other side of this, we will learn something more about God and ourselves.
Yeah.
So let's practice that this week. So if you are following along with us, would you practice this with us? And the idea is we're going to practice picking up praise. So just like we pick up tools for our day or tools for whatever, we're actually going to pick up praise. So that's ultimately praising God, which is the definition I just wrote down. Praising God all day long through affirming his goodness, his power, and his nearness. So what would that look like this week to affirm his goodness, his power, and his nearness in the midst of our chaos and in the mundane? So this week, let's pick up praise instead of picking up worry and fear and anxiety, and just see how it goes. I mean, it might totally backfire, and we might learn some other stuff that it's like, no, that's not even the point. The point is there's something even before picking up praise we might learn. So let's just try it. So try it with us this week. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Moy.
It was a blast.
Thank you so much for listening all the way through. Hopefully this is going to be really helpful in this next week, and we look forward to hearing from you actually on all the socials. So if you want to go to 10,000minutes.com, you can make comments there. You can make comments on the Facebooks, on the Instagrams, all those places. And also, would you please like, subscribe, and rate this podcast? That would be so helpful for us. And again, if you want to get the free text messages, just send me a text at the number 55678 and then type in the word 10K, 10K to the number 55678. All right, guys, we'll catch up with you next week.